Hello, second secondary. I wish you are all fine. Today we are going to explain Act 4 in Macbeth. Okay, what's happening in Act 4 in Macbeth? We here have Macbeth going to the witches again and asking them about the future again. He now is enslaved with the witch's predictions. He can't move a step without asking the witches what's going to happen, what happened, how long I'm going to stay here. He told the witches, I need your big witch to tell me the things I want to know. So the big witch said that to the witches, to the three witches, that she is not available. So she told them, let the spirits speak to him. Don't speak you for him. Let the witches, let the spirits, apparitions speak to Macbeth. So we have here the apparitions, the spirits, speaking to Macbeth, telling him future things. Okay, we have one of the spirits saying, be bloody, bold, resolute, love to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. Okay, nobody can harm Macbeth. Nobody born naturally from a woman. Not cesarean. You all know that there are two kinds of birth, one natural and the other cesarean. So he's saying that to Macbeth. These words were said by the second apparition when Macbeth went to the witches to consult and seek guidance for his future. He went to ask them to guide him and tell him about his future. Of course, this is wrong. We don't know the future. It's foretelling, and God forbid this. We shouldn't ask any of the astrologers about our future. None of the witches. Nobody should be asked except God. We should pray to Him to keep us safe from any harm. But what's he doing here? He is committing another crime of being a disbeliever. He he has overcome all the limits. He didn't respect his limits. Okay? The first apparition warned him of Macbeth. Yes, who is Macbeth here? Macbeth is Scene of 5. What is the Scene of 5? It's a title returning to what? Returning to the thing that he represent in the country. Okay? Whereas this apparition, the first apparition, warned him of Macbeth. He said, Macbeth, Macbeth, beware of Macbeth. Whereas this apparition encouraged Macbeth to be bloody and drove him to his doom, قدره. Macbeth now felt that nobody could defeat him. They misled him, ضللوه. Then they told him, don't be afraid, be bloody, do whatever you like, kill anyone. Of course, this is terrible. So they misled him. You all know and understand that misleading تضليل, misled ضللوه. This is the past of mislead. He could do any crime to secure his position. Yes, he wanted to be the king, and he was ready to do anything to keep the power and the chair of the king. These words made Macbeth bloody and more resilient. Macbeth sent murderers to kill Macduff. What happened? It was a terrible crime. When he knew that Macduff fled Europe to England to join Malcolm. Of course, you all know Malcolm. Malcolm is the son of King Duncan, who fled also, but after the death of his father, to England. Now we have another one of Scotland, a Scottish lord, Scottish general, flying or flooding from Scotland to join the Prince Malcolm. Okay, Macbeth sent murderers to kill Macduff. When he knew that he fled, he asked them to kill Lady Macduff, her son, and everyone in the castle brutally. What is this? Oh my God, he has been turned into a complete tyrant. He is now a tyrant. He sent to kill Macduff when he knew لما عرف that Macduff was not there. He he ordered the murderers to kill Lady Macduff and her son and everyone. Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Birnam wood هنا ولاد يعني غابة to high Dunsnan hill shall come against him. These words were said by the third apparition in the form of child. يبقى first apparition said Macbeth, Macbeth, beware of Macduff. Second apparition said be bloody, be resolute. Be bloody and be resolute. Okay. Third apparition said that Macbeth shall stay the king as long as Birnam wouldn't move. What is this? Again, they are misleading him. Poor Macbeth, actually. He is misled to his doom, to the edge of his death, actually. These words were said by the third apparition in the form of a child wearing a crown. احنا قلنا السبيريتس بيطلعوا الابريشن بتطلع تقول هنا الابريشن شكله ايه form of a child wearing a crown, putting a crown on his head, holding a branch. It bears a tree in its hand, telling Macbeth that he won't be defeated until Birnam Wood moves to Dunsnan Hill. Of course, any one of you or any one of us say that you are going to stay the king forever إلا إذا Birnam Wood moved. Of course, this is totally absurd. Why? Because we cannot imagine that the forest is going to move. This is really absurd. Okay, it's nonsense. The witches misled Macbeth. The prophecies allow Macbeth to persuade himself that as it was impossible that the woods move all this distance, everything may be well. Everything may be what? Well. Okay, guys, are you following? Are you following me? The strange apparitions الأرواح الغريبة act as symbols رموز that foreshadow تقول مستقبل the way the prophecies will be fulfilled, how the prophecies النبوءات will be fulfilled. The armored head suggests war or rebellion. The bloody child suggests Macduff's purse by cesarean section. يعني Macduff is not naturally poor. He was taken out of the womb of his mom when he was still in her womb. Okay, so he was being given birth by cesarean section. She was not of a woman's born, as his mother was dead before his birth. The crowned child is Malcolm, the son of Duncan, carried a tree as his soldiers would later carry tree branches from Burnham Wood to Dunstan Hill. غابات بيرنم لحد التل بتاع دانسن. Therefore, all the witches was completely true, yes, and it only meant to mislead again poor Macbeth. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, قولولي, if your art can tell so much. Shall Banker's issue, هنا issue يعني sons يا ولاد, ever reign هيحكموا in this kingdom? Do you imagine he killed his faithful friend and he wanted to kill his sons, but actually his son ran away. So he again is asking, is Banker's son going to rule? The witches didn't want to answer him. If Banker's child would reign or not. reign يحكم. But he insisted to know. A show of 8 kings, عرض من 8 ملوك. The last with a looking glass in his hand, and the banker's ghost following. آخر واحد ماسك looking glass, و banker's ghost عفريت بانكو وراهم. The first one looked like Banco. The second one, with a golden crown above his forehead, he looked similar to the first one, and the line stretched. Banco's ghost smiled upon him. بانكو ماشي ورا الملوك دول التمانية، كان بيضحك على ماكبث. He pointed at them to indicate, show, that they are his descendants, his sons and his grandsons. He was so troubled by the show. Of course, this show troubled him great extent. Thank you. Let's move to the second page. Okay. We almost are going to finish. What was the reaction of Lady Macbeth when she knew that her husband fled away? هرب. طبعا Macbeth fled to England. His wife is Lady Macbeth. She was angry and said, why did he run away? She thought that his flight, هروبه, was a kind of madness. If he was not a traitor, لو هو مش خاين, بس لما يهرب, he looked like a traitor to run away like this. It was not wise to leave his wife, his children, his titles, his property, and the house. This meant that his family is nothing to him. Of course, this is the opinion of Lady Macbeth. The murder of Lady Macbeth. طبعا, I told you that when Macbeth knew that Macbeth fled away, he decided to kill all his family, his wife, children, and even the servant at his house. Which is very brutal, actually. This murder marks the moment in which Macbeth descends into utter madness. Gurun, what did he benefit from killing them? He killed neither for political gain nor for silence an enemy, but simply out of a furious desire to do harm. He wanted to harm only Macbeth and hurt his feelings and make him feel bitter, painful sorrow. What did the conversation between Malcolm and Macbeth reflect? Now Macbeth is in England. He met Malcolm, the son of King Duncan. The conversation between them is very important. It reflects an important theme in the play, the nature of true kingship. طبيعة والملك وعلاقة الملك مفروض تبقى ازاي, which is embodied in Duncan and King Edward, as opposed طبعا بيمثلها لنا الملك المحترم في دانكن وكينج إدوارد. On the contrary طبعا Macbeth, to the tyranny of Macbeth. In the end, a true king seems to be one motivated by love of the kingdom more than by true self-interest. In a sense, both Malcolm and Macbeth share the virtue. The love they hold for Scotland unites them in opposition to Macbeth. Of course, they all love Scotland, and this love unites them. Fit to govern? No, not to live. Oh, nation, miserable nation, يا أمة بائسة. Macduff is saying this words to Malcolm. When Malcolm عمل ايه? What did Malcolm do? When the later اللي هو Malcolm tried to convince him that he had a very vicious and wicked character. He was unworth speaking. So why? Why did Malcolm try to do this? Because Malcolm didn't like Macbeth and didn't know who is on his side and who is against him. That's why he was just telling Macbeth that he was not really interested to return as a king. Okay, Macduff passed the test successfully. Macduff طبعا when he talked about this he passed the test. Now comes a great Rossi, another general, and he brought the news of the death of all the family of Macduff. He wanted to inform Malcolm of the terrible situation of Scotland. It became like a grave copper to a lot of people. There was a lot of people who want to rebel against this tyranny. Okay, he wanted Malcolm to bring help to stop all this. Again, Rossi went to Malcolm. He wanted Malcolm to ask for an army from England to stop this tyranny of Macbeth. He told Macduff about the attack of his castle and the bloody murder of all his family. Guys, thank you for your listening and goodbye. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any question, you can text me on the WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.